Hi, loves. I wanted to drop in here and share some messages that I received today because it really feels like a collective message and I want to share those. So I had a session with a friend of mine today, and towards the end of the session I said to her, what is it about us that tends to compartmentalize things? So her and I both have this tendency to focus on one thing, like hyper focus on it, right? And then what I realized was that it's not just us. And then as I'm tuning in for her, I saw this grid. And you can think of a grid as like an overarching belief system that we are tapped into. And so that grid, I felt, was really holding us in this space, all of us, in this space of being able to, I see the moon right now, I love her, being able to compartmentalize everything that we do. So how many people do you know, think about the way you live your life, right? When you're at work, you're at work. When you're with family, you're with family, right? When you're on a walk, you're on a walk. How much are we really allowing ourselves to receive all of it instead of just these tiny little pieces? So as an entrepreneur, when I sit down and I focus on my business, right? And I'm focused on like, what is the message that I want to bring here? Or how much money do I want to exchange in this offering? When I am hyper focused on those things, what it does is it creates this limited perspective of me working on something. So when I'm approaching something from a very limited perspective, what does that do? It creates a limited outcome, right? So the message that I felt today was that we get to receive life from this space of wholeness, from this space of, it was interesting because I was thinking about like presence, right? So much of us talk about, you know, we need to be more present, we need to be more connected, we need to be blah, blah, blah. And those spaces to me really feel like when we are tuned into everything. And I just went on this beautiful walk, and I didn't take my phone with me because I wanted space to receive and open all of my senses. And I had all these beautiful messages just continuing to channel through. And what it made me realize was the reason that I love intuition so much is that intuition is a truly limitless space. It's this space that when I'm connected, I'm not compartmentalizing. I'm not hyper-focused on these things. And it's so funny because when people come to me for readings and they say to me, I have like 5 different things. And sometimes they'll tell me like, I want to cover a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And I always laugh and I say they're always related. This is that same message. It's just looking at it in a different way, right? When I tune in and I'm in that limitless space, I can see how all of the pieces fit together. And they are seemingly unrelated to us because our human mind wants to compartmentalize to understand things. It wants to, that is how it understands it. It needs to put things in these boxes, in these identities, if you will, so that it can understand and break it down. But the truth is that when we can step away from that and really allow ourselves to receive from the whole and not from the parts, that's when things really open up for us. So I believe that this is a huge code, first of all, that came through, and this is exactly why I want to teach intuition. This is exactly what I want to teach people to do. And something that I'm working on integrating is, how can I show up, for example, when I'm working on my business and be considering all of the pieces, right? How am I taking care of myself as I'm working on my business? How am I resourcing myself, you know, with money, with beautiful environments to be in that support my well-being? How am I nourishing myself in my business? How am I serving my mission? And it's about all of them together. It's not just about the single pieces. And another thing that came through, so I am stepping into more of my teaching role. This is what lights me up. I love doing readings, but when I teach and I share wisdom like this, like it just lights my whole soul on fire. So this is what I'm going to be teaching more. And what's funny is that about a quarter of the way into my walk, I received like a big message, and a part of me wanted to run back home and start this live because I didn't have my phone with me. I wanted to share it. I am somebody that when I learn things, I want to go out and just like, I'm a walking advertisement. I want to share it with the world. And what I realized today on my walk was that me wanting to receive a message and then just tell the world and move on, or if I don't share it, I still move on, that is my limited capacity. It's my limited state of energy, my willingness to hold that wisdom. That's what that is. And so I noticed that when I receive a download and I'm excited and I want to share it, but when I don't do it, because I'm like, I'm out on a walk and I don't have space to share it right now, then I just move on. It's not because I'm so fast paced and I want to keep moving, which I am, but also it's because I'm limiting my own capacity to hold that wisdom, to really hold that wisdom. So one thing that I want to do actually is I want to sit with this message. I want to sit with this message. What does it mean to live from the whole being? What does it mean to receive at our full capacity? And I could feel it on the walk, like when I was receiving these messages and how like limited different perspectives can be. I was feeling like this wanting to contract, right? Like wanting to close my heart space and not really receive all the wisdom and hold it all. Like, how can I receive all this in my fullness, not in a state of contraction, not in a state of limitation? That's what I want to sit with and tune into more. And I actually would love to teach a class, and I'm feeling like there's going to be a series of codes that comes through. This is one of them. And I want to teach it. And I also am going to be opening up one-on-one space. I don't work with people one-on-one very often, but I'm going to open that up. And this is going to be a part of that. It's going to be a part of opening up your entire being. Everything that I've stood for in my life path has been about opening my expression. You know, when I was in corporate and I felt limited about how I could speak, how I could show up, the things that I could offer, the job position description that I was in, I always pushed out of those boundaries. I always pushed beyond that. And that's what I want to help others to do. I want to help others to step into their wholeness, their full expression. It's so incredible to notice how much the mind wants to compartmentalize us. It's like the best word I can come up with for it. Think about when you're sitting in meditation and somebody's guiding you and they're asking you to attune to your senses, right? And they're like, what do you smell right now? What do you see? And what are you hearing? And what are you feeling, right? Intuition, when I'm in my intuitive space, I feel all of that. And there are no limitations. There's no time. There's none of that. And it's so expansive. And I feel like now I understand, because that message came through, now I understand how I can show up in the world, how I can show up in my humanness and bring that part of me, because it was always like I'm either in my intuitive world or I'm in this 3D world, right? I'm in my intuitive world, which I I've been a million places. If I told you guys all the things that I've seen, it's amazing. Or I'm in this 3D reality, right? But now with this message, I feel like I understand how it can be all of it, how I can bring the expansion of the intuitiveness into this world. And part of it is releasing that grid. And if you weren't here with me in the beginning, you'll have to go back and watch. But part of it is releasing that grid that makes us compartmentalize everything that we do. It's limiting everything for us. And there's so much opportunity for us to open and receive everything, to really become our surroundings, to become our environment, because we are all of this. We are that expansive. It's not limited to just this human being, this human body. All right. So I think that's what I want to share today. Let me know how this landed, what your thoughts are, how it felt for you, if you would be interested in that code. I'm going to teach on this more. I'm going to sit with it, and I'm going to download a class, and I'm going to teach it. And the other thing is too, is in case you didn't see, I'm flying to Greece in December, and I'm hosting a retreat there. It's my first time in Europe, and I'm teaching my level 1 intuition. I am teaching this work. And so another thing I do want to share with you guys is the way that I found intuition. I was in a mastermind after my first coaching certification, and I met this woman. This woman was in the group, and her energy was just so lit up. And her name was Emma. And I said to her, I said, whatever you have going on, like whatever this is, I need that in my life, whatever that is. And I followed the energy. You guys have that too. Whether that's intuition for you, whether it's breath work, whether it's tapping, whatever that is for you, whatever makes you feel like you have connection to everything, that expansion, tune into that, follow that energy. Please follow that energy. And if it's intuition and you feel that pull with me, come talk to me. And if Greece inspires you, if it lights up your heart space, reach out to me. If you have the means to do it, if you want to figure out how to do it, if you feel the pull and you don't know how it's going to happen, reach out and let's talk about it. Like, let's start exploring and following the energy. I will always encourage you to do that. All right. I'm sending lots of love. Let me know how all this lands.